The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Sergeant Preston of the Yukon.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's Yukon King, swiftest and strongest lead dog of the Northwest, blazing the trail for Sergeant Preston of the Northwest Mounted Police in his relentless pursuit of lawbreakers.
On King! On, you husky!
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Gold discovered in the Yukon. A stampede to the Klondike in the wild race for riches. Back to the days of the gold rush. With Sergeant Preston and his wonder dog, Yukon King, as they meet the challenge of the Yukon. Here's a mutual note for you. You'll find nearly every type of detective adventure or crime-busting mystery story on the Mutual Sunday afternoon lineup. If you like excitement and action, it's there for the listening, as are tales where listeners can match wits with master sleuths. You have your choice of nearly every type of detective, too. Professional and amateur, hard-boiled and debonair. You'll find stories that are realistic and true to life, or strange and mysterious. Puzzles solved and riddles unsolved. The impossible crimes and the nearly perfect crime. Cases from official police files and stories of mysterious avengers that are frankly fiction. Mutual presents the baffling and the mysterious in a variety of top programs every Sunday. Join the millions who thrill to Under Arrest, Mystery Hall, The Shadow, True Detective Mysteries, Nick Carter and Peter Salem. It's hours of mystery make-believe every Sunday over most of these stations. At one point, the trail between Dawson and a community called Grand Forks ran along the edge of a cliff. Here, a number of huge boulders rested on the side of the trail away from the cliff. 3 men were crouched in the soft snow close to one of the big rocks. They were Dude Stevens, his brother Ricky, and a short, heavily built man known as Christie.
Dude, I'm getting fed up with sitting here and waiting.
Be patient, Christie. We've been here less than an hour.
That's about 45 minutes too long. It wouldn't be so bad if we could build a fire.
Sure. Build a fire. Send up a column of smoke so the freighter sees that someone's waiting here.
Even if he knew someone was here, he wouldn't know we were waiting to ambush him.
Well, don't argue with Dude. He knows what's best.
It's getting colder all the time. And I'm getting hungry.
All right, Christie. Why don't you go back to Beagle's cabin or go to Grand Forks? Either place you'll find a warm fire and all the food you want.
Now, dude.
Go on. Ricky and I don't need you for this job. In fact, I'd rather split the cash 3 ways instead of 4.
You mean a 2-way split instead of a 3-way, don't you, Dude?
Oh, I mean just what I said. I'm cutting Beagle in for an equal share.
Just because he furnishes a cabin to hide out in?
That's right.
Well, Dude, it seems to me you're giving Beagle a lot of cash just for letting us hide out in his cabin.
That's what I think. After all, we're taking all the risk.
Beagle's taking the same risk. He'll pay the same penalty we do if the law catches up to us. Well, Christie, are you leaving?
I've waited this long, dude. I might as well stay with you.
Suit yourself.
I'd feel better about it if we were sure that man from Montana would be traveling with the freighter.
All I know is that John Morgan from Montana is expected in Grand Forks tonight. And he's supposed to bring $50,000 in cash to close a deal to buy out the Empire Mining Company.
Yeah, that's what you told us.
Well, what more can I do? You expect me to guarantee he'll be with the freighter and have the cash?
Dude, you needn't lace into me so. I was
Listen.
on... Dog team coming.
Yeah, it's the freighter. I know the sound of the bells on his dogs. Get ready, boys. Cover your faces with the bandanas we faced.
Wish I'd cut these eye holes a little bigger.
If we kill the freighter and the man from Montana, we wouldn't have to worry about them seeing our faces.
I don't want murder if we can avoid it.
What if they put up a fight?
Slug him, knock him out, but don't kill him. Now get ready to jump from behind this rock.
Dude, they're close.
All right, let's go. I'll fire warning shots.
Stop the dogs! Stop or we'll shoot the dogs!
Get your hands up, both of you. Don't make any move.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
You there, you on the sled. Throw aside that blanket and stand up.
And be quick about it.
In Montana, where I come from, we used to have stagecoach robbers. And we knew how to deal with them.
A gun.
No! I'm hit.
You want gunplay, huh?
Hold it! Hold your fire!
You shot the passenger.
He fired first.
That's enough. Hold it, you hear me? No more gunplay.
All
I
right.
don't want any gunplay. My hands are as high as I can stretch them. You can see I'm not armed.
Freighter, your passenger was bringing some cash. Where is it?
I reckon it must be in his handbag, somewhere on the sled.
Get it. Keep him covered.
Right.
While Christie watched the freighter fumble beside the unconscious form of John Morgan for a black handbag, Dude turned his attention to his wounded brother. Ricky was fully conscious. He sat on the snow holding his side.
You hurt bad?
It doesn't hurt so much, but I don't think I can walk very far.
I'll fix that. You open that handbag.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm doing it. There. Money.
That's all I wanted to know. Now stand back from the sled while I see how badly your passenger is wounded.
All right. I'm doing as you say. Just don't shoot me. That's all I ask. Don't shoot an unarmed man.
That's far enough. Stand right there.
Keep your hands up and stand still. What's the wound like?
The bullet just grazed his head. Hardly more than a scratch. He'll be conscious in a few minutes.
Maybe he has more cash in his pockets.
I'll see.
Dude found a well-filled wallet. He transferred this to his own pocket. Also, a gold watch and a heavy chain. Then he saw a jeweled ring on the unconscious man's finger. He pulled it off and eyed it closely.
Mighty handsome ring.
Too big for you, isn't it?
Yeah. But it looks like it might be worth considerable. I'll take it along. Now I'll get the passenger off this sled.
Hey, what are you doing with my passenger?
I'm unloading him. We need your sled and dogs.
No.
Shut up.
No. It's bad enough to rob that man without leaving him there in the snow to die.
If he hadn't shot my partner, we wouldn't need your sled. There. With your help, this man can probably walk to town after he comes to. Now, Ricky, I'll help you onto the sled.
Dude helped his wounded brother to the sled, placed the bag of money at his side, and covered him with a fur robe. Then he led the dogs in a small half circle to reverse their direction.
Cheer! Cheer on there! Hey. Now we're set to travel. Hit up! Rush! Get along there!
That night, a high wind blew across the open country and beat against the constable's cabin at the edge of Grand Forks. Sergeant Preston and his great dog, Yukon King, were spending the night with the constable. The big dog lay near the door. Sergeant Preston was examining the constable's fishing tackle. Hooks, flies, lures, and other pieces of equipment were spread out on a table.
I don't like to brag, Sergeant, but I've taken my biggest fish with these flies I tied myself.
I'd like to try my hand with some of this tackle.
Say, why don't you? The boats have started running to Dawson. In a couple of weeks, the streams will be open.
That wind doesn't sound like spring fishing.
Well, nevertheless, spring's just around the corner.
Well, I'll try to arrange to spend a day or two with you on my next patrol, Joe.
That'll be fine. I'll show you where the big fish bite.
Joe, I'd like to stay up all night and talk about fishing, but I have to be on my way early in the morning.
I know. I wish you could stay in Grand Forks for a day or two.
I can't do it unless it's on official business, Joe. I've been out for 6 weeks. I should get back to Dawson as soon as possible. The inspector may have a new assignment for me.
There's always a new assignment.
King, what's the matter, boy?
He's thinking of a new assignment. Nose to the door.
Here's someone outside, King?
Maybe the wind.
I'll open the door and see what's on his mind.
Look at him go. Great Scott, do you think he took you literally when you said you wanted to reach Dawson as soon as possible?
Joe, look. 2 men over there.
Sure enough.
Having trouble walking.
King's returning to tell you about them.
One's fallen. Joe, those men need help. Go ahead, King. We'll follow.
The constable closed the cabin door and hurried after Sergeant Preston and King. A moment later, found the Mounties at the side of the man who had collapsed in the snow. The freighter was explaining.
He's just exhausted, that's all. We've been walking in the teeth of the wind for hours.
There's a bandage on his head.
A bullet brushed him. It's not serious.
A bullet.
We were held up on the trail.
Oh?
Everything was stolen, including my sled and dogs. That man's money. Whole bag full of it.
Who is this man?
His name is Morgan. He's from Montana.
Great Scott, the man from Montana.
I'll carry him to the cabin.
Inside the constable's cabin, Morgan regained consciousness. A bowl of hot soup and a cup of tea did much to restore his strength. He and the freighter told their story of the holdup on the trail from Dawson.
I shot one of the crooks and I had my skull creased in return.
Morgan, you're lucky to be alive. Half an inch to the left, and that bullet would have been fatal.
Yes, I know that, Sergeant Preston.
How badly hurt was the man you shot?
That I don't know.
He was hit in the side.
How much was stolen from you, Morgan?
There's $50,000 that I had in a handbag, as well as a few hundred in my wallet and a ring.
Those crooks seemed to know that Morgan was carrying a lot of money.
But how did they know it?
Everyone in Grand Forks knew you were coming here, Mr. Morgan, to buy the gold mining company.
Oh, I see.
Tell me about the men who robbed you.
Well, sir, there were 3 of them. Their faces were covered by large bandanas with holes cut for the eyes.
They were all about medium-sized, Sergeant. That's about all that can be said about them.
Not much of a description to go on.
The robbery take place on the main trail between here and Dawson?
Yeah. We were heading this way, but the crooks turned the team around and went toward Dawson.
Where did the robbery take place?
Just where the trail runs between some big boulders and the edge of a cliff.
Oh, yes, I know the place. I'll get my gear together. King should be able to pick up the scent of your dogs.
Sergeant, in that case, if the crooks don't abandon the dog team, you should be able to find their hideout, eh?
I hope to.
You see, Mr. Morgan, I told you the Mounties would catch those crooks. Sergeant Preston will get back your money.
The ring they stole means nearly as much to me as the money. It was a gift. A gift from the governor of Montana.
What does the ring look like?
Well, it's made of gold and set with small diamonds. It represents a seal of the state of Montana with the words Oro y Plata.
Oro y Plata?
Spanish words meaning gold and silver.
Oh,
That's part of the state seal.
I see.
I'll go with you, Sergeant.
No, Constable, you'd better stay here and see that Morgan has medical attention.
But you're going after 3 men.
I realize that, Constable. If I find I need help, I'll let you know.
We'll continue our adventure in just a moment. This is National Flag Week, and next Saturday is National Flag Day. So let's do some serious thinking for a minute about why we ought to honor the American flag. You know, we're pretty proud of that Star-Spangled Banner. It represents all that Americans through the years have fought and died to keep, our right to live in freedom. The flag will be 175 years old next Saturday, and in all that time it has never waved over a land that was not free. You want to keep it that way, don't you? When you grow up, you want to be sure that you will have the right to live where you want to work where you choose, and to worship God in your own church. You can start right now toward protecting those rights. Just be a good citizen and a loyal American. And part of that means honoring the American flag. When you salute and pledge allegiance, it means you are proud of the country you live in, that you intend to give it all the loyalty that's in you to give. Honor the flag this week, next week, and every week. Now to continue. While Sergeant Preston and King traveled through the darkness at a steady pace along the trail toward Dawson, the 3 thieves were in an isolated cabin owned by a man named Beagle. Beagle and Christie slept soundly through the night in bunks in the living room, but there was no sleep from Dude Stevens or his wounded brother. Ricky tossed in pain throughout the night, mumbled incoherently. Dude sat at his bedside, wondering helplessly what to do. In the morning, Beagle entered the room.
How is he, dude?
He's in bad shape. That wound's worse than I figured.
You look like you've been awake all night.
I have been. Beagle, I've got to do something for Ricky. I can't let him lie here and die.
Yeah, maybe the wound's become infected.
That's what I'm afraid of. It looks mighty ugly. I wish we could get a doctor here.
Well, we can't.
I've been thinking of sending Christie into Grand Forks for the sore wounds.
Nothing doing, dude.
But my brother...
I said nothing doing. The freighter knows one of the men who stuck him up was shot.
But he didn't see our faces. He can't identify us.
Anyone who goes into town looking for the doctor will be suspected.
If you think I'm going to let my brother
You got nothing to say about it. Christie and I have talked it over. We decide if Ricky can't get well without a doctor, he'll just have to die.
Why, you...
That's the way it is, dude.
Hey, Beagle, dude, come here fast.
What's wrong?
There's a Mountie heading this way.
Huh?
Dude. Look out the front window.
See him.
He has a dog with him.
Hey, that's Sergeant Preston.
He's coming straight this way. Dude, I thought you said you hid the tracks of the dogs and sled after you left the trail.
We did hide him. We took a lot of pains to brush him over with soft snow. And the wind last night must have wiped him out entirely.
And why is Preston coming here?
How do I know?
It's that dog of his.
What do you mean?
We covered our tracks so a man couldn't see them. But that dog has probably followed the scent of the freighter's team.
Dude's right.
Now, hold on. There's no use getting panicky. You boys are sure the freighter didn't see your faces? Preston will have a hard time proving anything.
He didn't see our faces.
Boys, we're not even sure he's looking for the men who stuck up the freighter in Morgan.
Well, if he is, he's sure coming to the right place. What's more, he'll know it when he finds a wounded man here.
And especially if he looks in the gully behind the house where we put the freighter sled and staked out the dogs.
He may be on routine patrol. Yeah, look at the way he's walking straight towards the cabin, without making any effort to sneak in on it.
He couldn't sneak across that open country if he tried.
I could put a bullet in him.
Not yet, Christie. It's dangerous to kill a Mountie. We want to avoid that if we can.
Yeah.
You two go in that bedroom, close the door.
Right.
Listen careful. If you see that I'm not going to be able to send the Mountie away, climb out the window from the bedroom, come around the front of the house.
Okay.
That way you'll be able to get the drop on Preston.
Come on, Christie. That sounds like a good idea.
Beagle watched through the front window until Sergeant Preston and King were within a few steps of the cabin. Then he opened the door and spoke heartily.
Well, as I live and breathe. You're the first lawman who's come this way since I moved into this cabin. I'm mighty glad to see you. My name's Beagle.
Hello, Beagle. I'm Sergeant Preston. This is my dog, King.
Sergeant, I don't know what brings you here, but I'm mighty glad you came. Fact is, I plan to go into Grand Forks today and speak to the constable.
Do you mind if we step inside?
No, not at all. Come right in. I'll leave this door open an inch or so and get some fresh air in the cabin.
You said you were going to speak to the constable.
That's right, Sergeant Preston. I've been robbed.
You have?
Yes, sirree. That is, you couldn't exactly call it a robbery, but I was forced to swap my sled and dog team.
Oh, tell me about it, Beagle.
Well, late yesterday, I happened to look out the window. Saw some men coming this way with a sled and a team.
How many men?
3. One was riding on the sled. Found out later he'd been wounded. Seemed to be in bad shape.
I didn't see the tracks of any sled.
No, and I'll tell you why. One of those men had a 6-foot branch from an evergreen tree. He was a long way behind the sled and brushing the soft snow to fill in the tracks. The wind last night covered any marks he left.
Did they stop here?
They sure did. They pulled a gun on me. Made me hitch my own team and sled. They left their outfit in a gully behind the house and went on their way. Last I saw them, they were heading in that direction.
Why did they change sleds?
I don't know why they switched sleds, unless they figured they could travel faster with mine. It's lots lighter than the one they left. Sergeant, I had a feeling they were running from the law.
Did you know the men?
No, they were strangers to me.
Where's the sled they left?
Well, it's still in the gully behind the house. It's a big affair. Looks like a freighting sled.
Are you alone here?
Me? Sure I'm alone.
Mind if I look in the other room?
Now, see here, Sergeant. I told you I was alone. Can't you take my word for it?
Not that I doubt your word, Beagle. It's simply that we're instructed to check on every detail. Is that a bedroom?
Yes.
My dog seems to be interested. What is it, King?
Sergeant Preston, now, wait a minute.
Well?
I'll tell you the truth. There is someone in there. It's my pal. He's sick. I lied because I didn't want to disturb him.
I'll not disturb him.
Get your hands up, Preston.
The sharp command came from the window of the bedroom opposite the door. The shutters of the window had been swung open a couple of inches. Dude stood outside, looking through the narrow opening and holding a gun.
I have you covered.
And I have you covered from this side, Preston.
Steady, King. Well, Beagle, you've proved to be quite a liar.
Well, I'm not lying when I say that both you and your dog will be killed if you don't do exactly as you're told.
You men gamble with your lives when you kill an officer.
The stakes are worth the gamble. I'm going to take a gun, Preston. If that dog makes one move towards me, he'll be shot, and so will you.
The sergeant quickly realized the futility of a sudden move. The partially closed shutters protected Dude from attack by King. And Dude could easily shoot if the Mountie and his dog showed any sign of moving against Beagle and Christie. Moreover, the silent man on the bunk might be merely feigning unconsciousness. There was a chance that he might be wide awake and holding a gun beneath the blankets.
Steady, King. Don't start anything.
That's good advice, Preston, and it goes for you, too. Not you're facing your own gun as well as the others.
This makes it fairly obvious that you are the men who robbed the freighter and its passenger.
Get that dog chained.
You heard what Dude said. Take your dog to the other room. We'll get a chain.
Heel, King.
There's a hunk of chain in the corner, Christie. Give it to Preston.
Right.
Preston, you chain the dog to the corner post of that double-deck bunk. That'll hold him.
Here it is.
Sorry, King. For the time being, there's not much else for us to do.
You made a mistake in coming here, Preston.
I wouldn't say that. I came here to find the men who robbed Morgan and the freighter, and I found them. I'm surprised at you, Christie. For a long time, I thought that the Stevens brothers were playing a crooked game, but I didn't know that you had tied in with them.
Well, I see you have the dog chained. That's good. Now we've got nothing to worry about.
Did you close the shutter in the bedroom window?
Yeah.
Good. The Mountie knows all about us. Reckon you know what that means. If he lives, we'll all go to jail.
Oh, wait a minute, Beagle. Maybe we can make a deal with him. Preston, you Mounties know a lot about treating bullet wounds. I understand you carry medical supplies in your gear.
That's right.
Well, that being the case, I want you to take care of my brother. He's in bad shape.
If I do, I suppose you'll delay my execution.
We'll delay it until my brother's better. Or dead.
Then you'll kill me.
Right. But we'll spare your dog. I happen to know how much that dog means to you.
Take the Mountie's pack off his shoulders, Christie. Get out his first aid kit.
Stand still, Preston.
The sergeant knew nothing would be gained by refusal to do what he could for the wounded man. He stood silent and motionless while first aid equipment was taken from his pack. His pockets were searched for hidden weapons.
Into the bedroom, Mountie. I'll be right behind you. Remember, I'm holding a gun.
I'll see what I can do, but stand back. Stay near the door. I don't want to be bothered. I'll close the door.
Listen, Preston. My brother means a lot to me. I'd do anything for him. Pull him through, and I'll help you get away alive. I really mean that.
Stay back near the door.
All right. But remember what I told you.
How long has he been unconscious?
Since just before you came.
Huh?
The only light in the room came through narrow cracks in the shuttered window. But even in the semi-darkness, the Mountie saw the pallor in Rick Stevens' face. He reached beneath the blanket and took hold of the left wrist. There was no pulse. The man already was dead.
What about him? What are you going to do about him? He's in mighty bad shape, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Well, do something. Do something. Don't just stand there.
Mountie knew that his own life would be taken as soon as the death of Ricky Stevens was announced. Moreover, the great dog King would die with him. His mind was racing while he pretended to examine the dead man's wound. And then he seized on an idea.
Dude, your brother needs the services of a doctor.
You've treated wounds, Preston. I know you have. You've got to take care of my brother.
My medicine kit holds only first aid equipment. The doctor has the necessary drugs to fight infection.
We can't get a doctor.
Well, even though it means my life, there's nothing I can do.
You've got to save Ricky. Do you hear me? You've got to save him.
There are certain new discoveries. If I could get to Grand Forks...
You know that's out of the question.
Well, in that case, dude...
Wait. What do you need?
What's the difference?
You tell me what you need, and I'll see that you get it.
Well, I can't tell you, dude. I'll have to write it.
Now, here's a pencil. Here's a piece of paper.
Very well.
I'll take that to town right away.
If you have any trouble finding the doctor, take this paper to the constable. He has a key to the doctor's office, and he'll see that you're taken care of. There you are.
Good. I'll get going.
Yeah, how are things in the bedroom?
My brother needs some newfangled medicine from town. I'm going to get it for him.
Now, hold on, dude. It's dangerous to go to town.
I said I'm going to get it for him. You keep the Mountie covered while I'm gone.
We might save time if I tied the message to King's collar. He can get to town much quicker than you can.
Oh, no, Preston. That dog stays right here.
Let's see that paper.
It just has the name of the medicine on it.
That plata. Never heard of this stuff.
Now, it's new, I tell you.
It's running a risk if you go to town.
Well, you're not stopping me.
But, dude, the chances you take...
There was further argument, but Dude was willing to run any risk to save the life of his brother. After he left the cabin, heading toward Grand Forks, Sergeant Preston returned to the bedside, hoping to postpone as long as possible the inevitable discovery that his efforts were mere subterfuge. Minutes dragged heavily until several hours had elapsed. Finally, Christie's patience snapped.
See here, Mountie.
Stay back near the door.
I haven't seen that man move since I sat down here.
Hey, what's going on?
Beagle, I was just saying I haven't seen Ricky move for hours. Seems to me there's something mighty funny.
You expect a man in this condition to move?
Stand back, Preston. I'm having a look.
You'd better do as he says, Preston.
Look at him, Beagle. You see any sign of breathing?
No, I don't.
You two aren't helping any.
Ricky's past all help. He's dead.
You sure?
Stand back, Preston, or I'll shoot you right here and now without waiting for Dude.
Sergeant Preston knew the end was at hand when he saw Beagle cross the room and pick up a small hand mirror.
I'll hold this mirror to his mouth and nose. That's a sure test. If it doesn't cloud over, man's dead.
Now, if ever, the Mountie had to make his move. While Beagle bent over the bed, holding the mirror, Preston leaped at Christie and slapped aside the gun. shot streaked past the Mountie.
Get him, Beagle. I'll get him. No.
Preston shot a fist at Christie's stomach and threw himself to one side as Beagle brought up his gun. Christie grabbed the Mountie by the legs. The sergeant fell.
Get out of the way, Christie, out of the way. Let me get a shot at him.
Beagle stood back, holding his gun in readiness, while Preston struggled to hold Christie as a shield.
Don't shoot me, Beagle. Close in and crack him on the head. I'll do that.
Beagle brought up his gun and aimed a blow that would crush the Mountie's skull. But at that instant, a gun barked in the living room, and Beagle's weapon flew out of his fingers.
Hold up your cover. That goes for you, too, Morgan.
I'll take that gun, Christie. Good work, Constable.
One Beagle drops there on the floor.
Yes, that's mine. I'll take it, too.
You. Where did you come from?
You're just in time.
Yeah, so I see. Morgan insisted on coming with me. He felt he had a right to be in on the showdown. We'd have been here a little sooner, but we circled to approach the cabin from the rear.
And obviously, Constable, you persuaded Dude to talk.
Give me your hands, Beagle. I'll try these handcuffs for size. Here, Sergeant, an extra pair for Christie.
Thanks.
Dude came to me with the paper you wrote. He said it was medicine he needed for his brother. At first, I couldn't imagine what he meant.
Then the constable remembered what I told him about my ring.
I see you're wearing it again.
Yes, we found it in Dude's pocket.
I couldn't figure out why you'd sent me the Spanish words from the seal of Montana.
Oh?
And it dawned on me that you were trying to let me know you'd found the thieves. So I went to work on Dude, and he squealed. He's now in jail.
I hoped you'd understand. Easy, King, easy, boy. I'll have you unchained in just a second.
I'll bet Rick Stevens was dead before Dude even left this place.
You'd win that bet, Christie. And there you are, King. Yes, boy, that was one fight you couldn't get in on. But I'm mighty lucky that I can say this case is closed.
Sergeant Preston will return in just a moment with a word about our next exciting adventure. Here's a Mutual note for you. Every weekday afternoon at 5 o'clock over Mutual, it's time for the Children's Hour. There are programs for all lovers of thrilling exploits and daring adventures. Imaginative trips into a world of excitement for all kids from 6 to 60. Cowboy heroes of today's and yesterday's western rangeland gallop to deeds of stirring action. Their stories show the spirit of the men who brave the perils of the frontier and still fight to uphold justice. You can hear true-to-life tales of men who face danger and hardship in out-of-the-way places in the world and whose lives are inspiring examples of courage. Exciting fiction characters bring their share of daredevil exploits with secret disguises and modern machines used in the never-ending battle against evildoers. The doors open to thrilling adventure every weekday afternoon when Mutual's popular children's heroes take to the air. Young imaginations delight in these programs that bring a world of daring action to colorful life. They are all heard on Mutual every weekday over most of these stations. And now, here is Sergeant Preston.
Reporting for duty, Inspector.
Sergeant, the night watchman at the Yukon Trading Company has been killed. $5,000 is missing from the safe. 2 witnesses have come forward.
Actual witnesses to the murder?
No, Sergeant, but they saw Dave Mason leaving the office at 3 o'clock this morning.
Well, I can't believe Dave Mason would commit murder, sir.
Your job is to bring him in for questioning, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
But the sergeant soon found that Dave Mason had disappeared. He picked up his trail and followed him to a lonely ghost town. And there, as a spring storm swept the country, the sergeant and King found not one, but 3 desperate killers. Don't miss this next exciting adventure. These radio dramas, a feature of Sergeant Preston of the Yukon Incorporated, are created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Muir Incorporated, directed by Fred Flowerday, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of Sergeant Preston is played by Paul Sutton. Sergeant Preston of the Yukon